admissions. We have a few other admissions people here with us today, but Sabrina and I are going to kind of take you through a PowerPoint, talk about specifics for admissions for freshman students and transfer students. So Sabrina is one of our transfer enrollment counselors. As we wait on some more people to hop in, one of the big differences that we talk about a lot is if you're a freshman student, but you took dual enrollment or AP in high school, that doesn't mean you're a transfer student. So you'll still, be a freshman and work with us on that side. But we're going to go over a few things today. And then Brittany is also going to record this session for us. So if you have questions, feel free to either unmute yourself and talk to us out loud, that's fine. Or if you want to just use the chat feature, hi Janelle, welcome. If you want to use the chat feature too, you can do that. And then it'll be recorded if you guys need to go back and reference that later. So I'm going to go ahead and put my screen share on and we will get started. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, is everybody with me on the first slide? Has our nice, wonderful logo here? Good deal. All right, so like I said, I'm Amanda Johnson. I work in admissions. Really glad you guys are here and able to meet with us this way instead of being on campus. We can't wait for you guys to actually come to campus. I know that we have some fall 20 students that are in here. I know Haley told us earlier she's coming to play softball for CSU, so really glad to have you guys in today. Of course, if you guys have learned anything about Charleston Southern so far this week, I hope that it is that we, I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this. Here we go. I hope that is that we integrate faith in learning, leading, and serving. So if you have tuned into any professor talks or you heard Dr. Costin yesterday, I hope that was at the forefront. I know the ones I've listened to and so far that is all about what they do. They're all about that, and it's a lot of what we do here at CSU. So CSU at a glance is that we were founded in 1964, so we're not super old in the grand scheme of things. We are 1 year older than my mom. She really loves it when I tell people that. And we are located technically in North Charleston, South Carolina, but we are about 30 minutes from downtown Charleston. So it's really kind of a nice location. You can take advantage of everything downtown, but then also come back to home base, I like to say, and have a nice community here on campus at CSU. We have just over 3,500 students in total, so that includes our grad, undergrad, and online students, and our student to faculty ratio is 12-1. We're very diverse. We have students from 41 states and 21 different countries, so I tell South Carolina students that, and out-of-state students, you're not coming in feeling like you're going right back into a South Carolina high school. And then you also are able to meet students from all around the country and maybe world. And I always say make friends with someone that lives in a super interesting area, and you can go on vacation and go visit them at home. So that's always really fun. Students are meeting people from all over the country and world here at CSU. So our accreditation, we're accredited through SAC. So if you are interested just to know more about that, we definitely are an accredited institution. We have 50 different or over 50 undergrad programs. So our top programs are listed there. All those programs will be covered in our virtual open house this week. So if you guys want more information on those, definitely tune into that. And we'll be recording all of those sessions just like this one too. So you can always go back and connect with those professors that way. We also have over 15 graduate degree programs, and so definitely the physician assistant program, that one started in January of 2018, and then we're really, really excited about our physical therapy program that's coming in 2022. So if you are still in high school and interested in that, that's going to be a great program to just feed right into after your undergrad degree. Welcome, Chloe, those that joined recently. So go ahead and I'll turn it over to Sabrina for a bit.
Awesome. Hey guys. So just a little bit about Charleston in general. I'm actually a native here. I grew up here. So there's honestly, I could go on and on just about being in Charleston, but we've highlighted some super popular things for people and students to do here in Charleston. There's always the annual Cooper River Bridge Run, so that's super fun. It's over near the Mount Pleasant area, so if you're really active and love running, or even speed walking, if you just love to participate in those types of events, that's super fun as well. Lots of concert venues, professional sports, and of course you can always see our Bucks go and play, regardless of who we're competing against. It's always a fun time. There's also the aquarium. That's actually one of my personal favorite places to go, especially downtown. And then there are also just fun cultural events like Piccolo Spoleto and the Spoleto Festival. I actually used to participate in those when I was in high school. So it's just a really cool environment to be around. So those are just some of the few things that you can always do in Charleston. And then specifically about campus life. So for students who are typically, if they were like me in college and just love being involved, there are lots of fun things to do. There's always some multicultural events, study abroad. If you want to do that for your major, that's something that I always advocate for students to participate in, since I actually got the chance to do that in my undergrad as well. Campus ministries. So that's something that is personally just super close to my heart. Since before I joined the enrollment team, I actually got to mentor some ladies on campus, and they were super involved with something called Elevate. It happens every single Thursday evening, and it's such a fun time for student-led worship. So that's something that I always will shamelessly plug. In addition to that, we also have fun internship opportunities, fun residence life things to do. If you are someone who's moved from out of state, or you're kind of one of the only ones from your school, get connected with your RA. They have some amazing weekly Bible studies that they can participate in. There's also recreational sports, and intramural things, and of course our athletics, and just so many other things to get involved in. Greek life. If you have a political affiliation, you can do that as well on campus. So there's just tons of ways to get involved on campus too. Alrighty, and then next we have our ROTC programs. So if you are someone who is interested in the Army or Air Force, ROTC is going to be super important if that's something that you're looking to once you graduate, kind of just step right on into that officer position. So if you do JROTC in high school, you probably already know a little bit about how that kind of involvement really just kind of builds character as well as a community ideals. So if ever you're interested in that specifically, please talk with your enrollment counselor. They'll be happy to provide way more information on the opportunities and, of course, next steps that you'll need to take in order to go on that journey while you're a buck here. Awesome. And then next, sports. So if you are a student athlete, I believe I know that we said we have a incoming softball player here, so that's super exciting. We are NCAA Division I school, so we have a number of sports you'll kind of see on the screen here: basketball, baseball, football, women's soccer, track and field. Definitely lots of ways to get involved if you are interested in sports. Of course, let your enrollment counselor know, and they'll actually pass on your information to Amanda. She's super helpful and our correspondent for that. So if ever you have questions, reach out to Amanda, reach out to the coaches, and that conversation will be kind of smooth sailing from there. Pun intended.
And I just want to jump in too. So like she said, I am the NCAA athletic liaison for the admissions office, but also kind of if you're not a student athlete or a sports guru in general, it's fun to go and watch your friends compete. But we also offer, all of our students are able to enter our sporting events for free. So your student ID that you get CSU is your pass for everything. And I love that we are a Division I program that doesn't charge student tickets for our athletic events. So that's a really fun opportunity as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, of course, for lots more fun glimpses into campus life and being a Buck in general, please follow us on all of our socials. They're actually really, really fun. We try to keep them updated as regularly as possible. And especially if you are in the area and want to know what kind of events are happening, be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Perfect. All right, so we are going to jump into the nitty-gritty of what it takes to apply and go through the entire enrollment process. So these are the very basic steps to enrollment for CSU. So you'll apply, submit your particular documents that we ask you for, apply for financial aid, pay your deposit, get your housing docs in, and register for classes. So we're going to go through all types of different scenarios for you guys. So that first step, applying for admission. So our application is free. We want this application process to be virtually free for you. So you apply online, and that is completely free. You also, the documents that you turn in, we do accept unofficial copies of things. So if you have copies of your transcripts and test scores, then we'll take unofficials as well. So for fall 2020 students, if you're on here and you are a senior right now and you're not quite sure about where you might be attending in the fall, definitely go ahead, fill out our online application. Your enrollment counselor can immediately let you know what merit-based scholarship that you would receive at CSU. And so there's no deadline. And then if you are a junior, sophomore, freshman, you can apply during August of your senior year. August 1st is when we open up that application for the next class. You absolutely can send us your documents, your test scores and transcripts before you apply, and we can give you a good idea of what your merit scholarship would be and start having those conversations with you, get you back on, get you on campus when we're open again. So you can absolutely start talking with us before you actually press submit on that application. So the documents that I was mentioning, so for freshmen, we require your high school transcript, your test scores. We do accept SAT or ACT. We really don't have a preference on which. And then, of course, we also will take your AP IB scores and then any dual enrollment classes. So we'll evaluate those transcripts to get you credit where credit is due. And your enrollment counselor would be happy to talk to you about how different classes come over and what they count for, all of that good stuff. So like I said, that transcript and scores, you can, we often tell students, hey, just screenshot your ACT or SAT account and screenshot those and email those over to us. That is completely fine to get an admissions decision. Once we have those things in for freshmen and transfers, we actually make decisions within 10 business days. So we try to let you guys know as soon as we know. So it's an exciting thing. We want to let you know really quickly. So we'll do that within at least 10 business days. And for my transfer students, you will need official transcripts from every college or university that you attended, whether that's one or whether that's 6. We will need all of them. And then Sabrina will go over the admissions requirements for transfers. But if we happen to need any high school documents, we could potentially ask for those as well. Mm-hmm. All right, so freshman admission requirements. So if you are a student in South Carolina, you need all of these things to graduate. Most other states, you need these things to graduate as well. So the 4 Englishes, 3 math, 3 science, 2 with a lab, and then 3 years of the social studies or history. You'll notice that we don't have a foreign language requirement. So you do not have to take foreign language in high school in order to get admitted to CSU. But what our students can do is, if you have taken multiple years of French or Spanish, you can take a placement test. And so you can test out of some of those courses that are required here. We require at least a 2.0 to 2.5 GPA. Our average student actually comes in with a 4.1, so you're still getting a really competitive classroom environment. And we do use your weighted GPA, so we will use your highest GPA. And then you see the minimum requirements for test scores there. So we'll look at all the sections separately. And then, of course, if you take multiple ACTs, multiple SATs, we will super score. So if anyone isn't sure what that is, we will take, if you take the SAT one time and you have your 2 scores, and then you take it again, maybe your English score on that second test is a bit higher. We'll merge just the highest of those 2 tests. All right. Get you switched over, and Sabrina will chat about transfer requirements.
Woohoo! Awesome. So like I believe we mentioned earlier, I'm one of the transfer counselors here at CSU. So transfer requirements are a bit different than a typical first-time freshman. We do require a minimum college level GPA of at least a 2.0 on a 4.0 scale, and then at least 24 transferable credit hours from a regionally accredited college or university. So I believe, like on the previous slide, if you don't quite meet that, or let's say you're a first-year college student and you've just graduated, high school, and it's like, I don't know, maybe this isn't the right fit, I want to transfer. So let's say that you only have 12 credit hours. Well, we are still able to look to high school scores, as well as your high school transcript to make decisions, because of course you're a first-time college student. So there's definitely grace there, and so we will need both of those in terms of documents, and we'll be able to look to those requirements as we're making decisions. And please note, of course, we do need to have all materials in order to make a decision. So that being a high school scores or a transcript if we need it, as well as a transcript from all of your previous / current institutions. So for kind of moving forward in terms of what that looks like, I know for freshmen and transfers, again, it is a bit different. So for freshmen, you can see here, the average freshman will enter in with at least like a 4.0 weighted GPA for high school, and then 24 ACT, 1150 SAT. So for that merit-based scholarship for the year, that can range anywhere from $3,000 to $18,000 per year. And last year we had top scholarships amounts were awarded to students with an average 3.8 GPA and around a 28 ACT.
Sabrina, do you want to speak to what those scholarship options are for transfers? I don't think we have that range on here.
Yeah, sure. So for my transfers, that will look like pre-awarding our students up to $10,000 for the year, and a minimum of $7,000 for the year. So a bit of a smaller range. But of course, typically for our transfer students, there are still lots of opportunities for scholarships, because we do know it's hard out here. You don't necessarily have as many options as a first-time freshman, but we will, help you out in terms of looking at all of our options for that. Awesome. So the FAFSA, everyone's favorite. So for FAFSA, we do require students to complete and turn in the FAFSA if they want to receive financial aid. Of course, you do not have to fill out the FAFSA, and if you and your family are adamant about not filling one out, there are next steps that we can take. Just let your enrollment counselor know. That way we can help move you forward in that way. But for our students receiving financial aid using our FAFSA, we do stack scholarships. So first, for our FAFSA, which is federal aid, once you complete that, we have our CSU school code listed here, as well as the link that you'll need to go to complete the FAFSA. And if you ever get overwhelmed or have any questions about that, there is a wonderful customer care line on their website that you can call if ever you get stuck. That way they're kind of able to walk you through what you'll need to turn in and what information you'll need to have in order to complete the FAFSA. But once that's done, you put in our school code, and our financial aid office receives that very quickly, and then they're able to put together an awards package for you. And kind of moving down from that federal level to the state level, if you are a South Carolina resident, you are eligible for South Carolina tuition grant. So for that, because we are a private institution, we don't get lottery money, but we do get the tuition grant, which is just as helpful. And we have our deadline there for the South Carolina tuition grant. And then, of course, we stack it on top of any sort of institutional aid that you'll receive from us.
Perfect. Wonderful. So moving along, kind of staying in the theme of for in-state students and what the state offers you. So of course we honor Hope, Life, or Palmetto Fellows eligibility. So you'll see the amounts there. Those are state awards, but they are based off of merit. So your GPA test scores and then class rank play a part in all three or one of those. So if you have questions about what you might be eligible for those, or if you're trying to reach for Palmetto Fellows status, you can ask your enrollment counselor here at CSU, or even your school counselor at your high school. They are really knowledgeable on this information as well. The South Carolina tuition grant that Sabrina mentioned, that just got increased to $3,750. So that happened just now. So if you are a fall 2020 student getting that award, then that change should have gone through for you. The tuition grant is a semi-needs based scholarship. So any South Carolina students, you guys, they will have to take take the FAFSA, into consideration for this one, since it's semi-needs based. We see most of our South Carolina families receive this award, but if you have any questions about that, again, definitely just let us know. So again, like she said, these scholarships are in addition to that merit award that your student is already getting. Any student who is accepted to Charleston Southern is receiving a merit-based scholarship. So we start those out, like she said, 3,000, and then they climb from there. So for my out-of-state students, so that, of course you're giving up your in-state aid from where you are, but we do offer every out-of-state first-time freshman a $2,000 out-of-state grant that will add on top of your merit award. And then, of course, we'll look at the FAFSA for additional aid as well. So after you get admitted to Charleston Southern, your enrollment counselor will work with you to go through all of the nitty-gritty financial aid things. We do not require that the enrollment deposit be paid before we talk to you about your financial aid. We completely understand that you want to know what that cost is going to look like as best as you can for all 4 years, by the way. So we do promise our merit-based scholarships for all 4 years, as long as you maintain good standing with the university and a 2.5 GPA. So when your enrollment counselor is working through this freshman or first year financial aid for you, we're also looking at what it's going to take you to finish out your degree, and make sure you understand your aid throughout that whole process. So all that being said, we do prefer that the enrollment deposit be paid by May 1st. Now this year, the preferred date is June 1st. But we still don't have a deadline for that. Of course, the sooner the better. It does get you the ability to register for classes at a priority registration time, and then also gets you your one of the things that gets you a housing assignment. So if you have a particular room preference or want to make sure you get priority class registration, then the earlier the better for that deposit.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So one of the final steps we're going to be talking about is submitting housing documents. So if you want to be a resident student on campus, these are the two things that you will need after you pay your enrollment deposit, which will be the new resident housing application, which of course can be found in your MyCSU, and your CSU immunization form, which is also there under forms and documents. So for the immunization form, the easiest and most efficient way to do that will especially be to go through your primary care or your family doctor, who will be able to list all of the immunizations that you've had, and they'll be able to sign off on that. So just, be sure to download the PDF from online and send it to your primary or your family doctor. And they'll be able to complete that, and then just send that through to housing, or you can always give it to your enrollment counselor there. And then, of course, last but not least, for registering for classes. Now, of course, registration is going to look a bit different this year with everything that's happening. So unfortunately, our April is canceled, but I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, is our May still tentative? Yes, solid.
Hopeful for that date.
One more time?
Still hopeful for that date.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. Just wanted to be sure. So our May is still hopeful. And then, of course, you can kind of see there it says freshmen only. So my transfers, don't worry. We will have some information for you to do online May registration. And then, of course, in June 19th and July 17th are going to be registration days for all incoming students for the fall. So be sure to, of course, especially now, keep in contact with your enrollment counselor for any and all updates for those. As we're receiving information, we're going to be communicating with you via email or text, or if you want to set up a Zoom call like this, of course, feel free to just let your enrollment counselor know, and we'll be sure to walk you through any next steps and answer all of your questions.
Perfect. Well, that is the slideshow that we have for you guys. I definitely want to open up for questions. I know we covered a lot of ground. Let me just pull my screen share off here. Good deal. So we covered a lot of ground with you guys, but what questions? I know we were answering some through the chat as we went through, but feel free to turn on your audio and talk with us, or ask questions in the chat. Are there additional things that you guys have questions about, whether it's the admissions process or anything? Patty, okay, so applications for fall 2021 are going to open up August 1st. So August 1st of that student's senior year is when that application is going to open. It's going to be online. It's going to be totally free. Chloe? Yes, we do. So she's asking about dual enrollment classes. So all we will need is your transcript from the college that you attended. And so we'll actually look at that kind of after, if and when you're accepted, we'll look at those afterward and just transfer those credits over for you. So if you're the one that said you were from Maryland, I think that was right, then Kimberly Ford will be working with you. And so you'll just get her your transcripts and we'll get you credit for those. Haley, yes. So you are joining us this fall. So for you specifically, if the students who have already paid their deposit, and I apologize, I can't look at your file right this second, but if you have already paid your deposit, then you definitely can get that online registration at the end of this month, and you could do that online, or you can come to campus during one of those registration days that Sabrina listed out. So if you want to talk with your enrollment counselor, you're from North Carolina, so if you want to talk to Riley Vargas, then just email her and ask her, I don't know if you registered for the April day, but just let her know and she can make sure that you're all set up to get that link as soon as possible if you want to do priority registration, because you are deposited actually. So. Mm-hmm. How many students live on campus? So we have just over, correct me, I'm drawing a blank, just over 2,700 undergraduate students and about 1,300 that live on campus. We just built a new residence hall. I guess it's been a year ago now that it's been open. So students started moving in last March. So we have our existing suite style residence halls, and then we added with our brand new residence hall. And then there is a phase 2 of that that should be starting to have some additional dorms on campus. What else? Anything else, you guys? Anything else you want to know about CSU campus life? Doesn't have to be admissions.
Amanda, do you want to talk about move-in weekend and what that looks like?
Absolutely, yeah. So move-in day this year is August 21st. So our move-in days are always on a Friday, and then students basically spend the weekend doing orientation activities. Parents, there are some things for you to do on Friday, but then there's also a farewell time on Friday. Some mamas of the girls kind of stick around and make sure there's no last minute Walmart trips to do and dorm setting up, but we do encourage students to get involved in all the orientation activities that are happening that weekend. So it'll kick off big time with a campus-wide worship experience on that Friday evening after you move in. And then the entire first week of classes, this year the first day is August 24th. So that whole week is called Welcome Week. There is going to be an insane amount of opportunity for you guys during that week. So I always tell students, jump in head first because there is so much going on campus. We want you to be able to be exposed to every single club and organization and opportunity that we have at CSU. But that whole welcome week is designed for that, so you can see what there is as far as campus life. Chloe has another question. Yes, so we do accept outside scholarships. If you are applying for a number of those, some students have applied for them through one of their parents' jobs or through their church or community, anything like that. We have a really great scholarship page on our website. And so there is an outside scholarships tab as well, which is some things that our students have brought in the past if you're looking for additional outside aid. But if you have something you've applied for, then you basically just will tell that outside scholarship organization, hey, I'm going to be attending CSU, and so send my scholarship to that university. Okay, question about residence life and what the dress code is like. So good question. We get this a lot. So we actually don't have a set dress code for our students. We do have a student handbook that outlines guidelines and just kind of like best, basically be an adult. You are now living on your own. You are around professors who potentially could, they're looking out for job opportunities for you, internship opportunities. So we really don't have a set dress code for students. And on that note as well, we don't have a curfew for students either. So in the residence halls, we do have 2 gates that come on to campus. One of them is going to be closed from midnight to 6 a.m., but then the other is going to have a security officer at it. And so like between those hours. So if you're coming on and off campus between those hours, they will make sure anyone that is coming on campus is a resident student to protect you in that way, so that they're supposed to be on campus and they live there. But there's no curfew. We have lounges in the dorms that are open until 3 a.m. and those are monitored by a resident advisor. And so you can watch TV, hang out with friends there, and, order pizza or Chinese food or whatever and throw on a movie. So there's a lot of spaces for you to hang out on campus and just live. So we don't actually have a dress code or a curfew for students, but definitely have security measures that we put in place to make sure that people are safe. And we do have 24/7 campus security.
Mm-hmm.
A few more questions came in. So Sarah Beth, is there advantage to coming to campus to register for classes versus online? So that, exactly what you said about meeting your academic advisor, is definitely the benefit to coming to campus to register for classes. So you will meet with a specific academic advisor when you come on campus that is in your department. You also can, it allows you to sit there and kind of mess with class times and see what class times are available. So it's very involved. You can say, oh yeah, I don't really want this class at 8 a.m. Is there a 10 a.m. available or something like that? So you can try to meet with that professor and, and get those worked out that way. So that's really the benefit of coming on campus.
Mm-hmm. Another quick thing to add too would also be to, of course, get the layout of campus and once get your schedule. I know a couple of my students have just kind of visited every single building, so you can kind of walk through your class schedule, and as well as getting your CSU ID and parking decal, meeting with security, just kind of getting to know the people that you're going to be with and be looking to for the next 4 years. That's also a super important benefit too for on-campus reg days.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. All right, going down, Haley, if you request a roommate, when will we find out it is approved? Yes, that's very exciting. So if you, so that housing application Sabrina was talking about, you definitely can request a roommate and suite mates on there. You can put names in. If you don't have anyone in mind yet, that is okay. You can leave that blank, and Residence Life pairs, people together. So if you have requested a roommate, though, you will know that once you get your housing assignment. So right now, the plan is that Residence Life will start creating those housing assignments beginning of May. So be on the lookout for that. You should know sometime that month. But Haley, also being a softball player, the coaches do have a hand in your roommate preference. So they may put you with a teammate. I don't know if that was someone that you requested, but the coaches and then Residence Life will do that in May. Okay, let's see. How about campus jobs? Sabrina, you want to take that one about campus jobs?
Yeah. So for campus jobs, well, first, of course, once you do the FAFSA, if you qualify for Workstudy, that will be listed on your financial aid package as well. So there are plenty of Workstudy, both on and off campus opportunities for students. So really just to be sure that you're getting connected with student success and looking online to look at what job opportunities there are, and just some practical examples, working in the Brewer Center up at the front if you're interested in activities and getting involved in intramural sports, that's an option. If there are ever any sort of departmental jobs as well, just getting in contact with like a dean or department head, that'll be something to go through as well. So of course, if you don't qualify for Workstudy, that is of course a bit of an initial challenge, but once Workstudy positions kind of fill and you're starting to look through and seeing what else is available, you can always just be sure to look online and getting into contact with your advisor or student success and just kind of looking through to see what else is available. And of course, one quick important thing to add for our Workstudy students, if you have an on-campus job, you really kind of have two options in terms of getting paid. You can either have that typical paycheck that's biweekly, or you can have the amount taken off of your tuition. So essentially, as you're working, you're paying off your tuition that way. So those are just some kind of important things to also note if you're looking for an on-campus job.
And Stephanie, just following up your question to Sabrina's answer. So Federal Workstudy is completely needs-based. So we do, like you said, we have to have a FAFSA for that. So it totally depends on, this is getting detailed, but it depends on your estimated family contribution that the FAFSA pulls. So we do have a special circumstance opportunity. So the FAFSA pulls the prior year. So if you're 2020, it's going to pull 2018 tax information. If you're 2021, it'll pull 2019. So if you had special circumstances where finances and income looks very different right now than it did 2 years ago, then you can talk with your enrollment counselor about going through that special circumstance process, and that can help kind of override some of what came over on the FAFSA. So maybe get you qualified for work study when it didn't originally appear. And then it's also, we have a limited work study positions. So not everyone who qualifies for it will get it. So that is first come, first serve. So definitely do that FAFSA October 1st when it opens up as soon as you can. Okay. Karina, so there is a cost for parking on campus. Freshman students can bring their car for one, but our parking pass is just $20 per year. So they will mail you that sticker and you slap it on your car and you're good to go. $20 later. So that is not included in the tuition, room and board. That's an extra charge, but you'll just pay for that when you register for classes at $20. And there is a lot of parking available on campus. There is a ton around the residence halls, and then our commuter students have a whole separate parking space. So we have the commuter lots and then also resident lots. And so the resident lots are very conveniently located close to the dorms. So hopefully when you get to come on campus soon or again, you'll see how close things are to the entrances of residence halls. So that's really, really safe on campus and close to your halls. So there's definitely a lot of parking. Patty, another question about the dorms. Are they co-ed? So we do not have any co-ed dorms. So we do separate male and females in the dorms. The newest residence hall is like an L shape, kind of like that. And so it's separated by wings. So we have fobs that will get you down your specific hallway. And so that one is really the only one they're all separated by lobbies in the middle, and you have a fob to get down your specific male or female hallway. The other dorms are completely separate buildings as far as male and female. So the male dorms are called the quads. And they are kind of over near the new residence hall. And then our female dorms are back behind the Whitfield Center part of campus. Haley, let's see. If you apply to become an RA, do you have a room to yourself? Are you allowed to have roommate? Okay. So if you are an RA, you actually can choose to have a roommate. My younger sister just graduated from here last May, and her suite mate was an RA. So the RA lived by herself, but then her suite mates were freshman girls. But then she also had some that the RA did have a roommate. So it's just totally, it's up to you on that. And then after the first 2 years of living on campus, are you allowed to stay on campus the next 2? Yes, absolutely. So we have a requirement that you do have to live on campus until you're 20, unless you are a local student. You live in one of Berkeley, Dorchester, or Charleston County. You don't have that requirement if you're living with family. And that's really anyone. We have some out-of-state students that they are moving to Charleston over the summer, and they are living with parents at home here. But you do need to live on campus until you're 20, and then you could move off or you can stay on. So upperclassmen do get, housing again is first come, first serve. So you will apply to, re-up your housing at the end of your year and get put back into housing if you're a junior or senior. And then also, Haley, it's a really good idea to apply to be an RA. If you're an upperclassman and want to do that, then that's financially a good decision too, and then allows you to stay on campus too. Okay. Chloe, let's see. I'm taking a shorter schedule your senior year. I'm worried about GPA won't be as high. Okay. Yes. So Chloe, we will look at all 4 years of your high school transcript for your merit scholarship. So we will use your cumulative GPA. So we're not just going to look at particular years. And by the way, you would send, so if you're fall 2021, you're really only sending us a transcript that's through junior year, and that's okay. So we'll look at all of your courses and then what's in progress for you. We will use your cumulative one, so it's okay if maybe 1 year, is a bit lower than you wanted. We'll look at everything all together. So Patty, scholarships, and do any of them apply towards room and board? So our merit scholarships for freshmen, so the $3,000 to $18,000 that you saw on the PowerPoint, those are for resident or commuter students. So it works both ways. So if you're a resident student, we're taking your tuition plus your room and board and stacking scholarships, for that. So if you are one of our average students and you're getting that $15,000 scholarship, that's a resident student scholarship. And so it's going to apply to your whole tuition, room, and board cost. If you are a commuter student, then that scholarship would look different. It is proportional to what your cost is here at CSU. So whether you are a resident and paying for room and board. So that scholarship would look different if you're commuting. Stephanie, what do RAs do? So, RAs, oh my gosh, they do a lot. And if anyone else who was a CSU student or a student in general wants to jump in and has stories about their RA, but they are really your go-to. So as a freshman, you will have, I believe there are 2 RAs on every freshman girl hall. So by the way, CSU is 60% female, 40% male. So our female residence halls are a bit larger. Those hallways are a bit longer. And then males have 1 RA per hall, just because their halls are a bit shorter. So RAs are, they get to know the students on the hall. They give you activities. I know I'm just using my sister as an example because she was in college a lot more recently than I was. But the RAs plan specific events. I know Allison's RA, she was like, okay, once a month, we're going to go try out a new coffee shop or ice cream place or something in Charleston, and they would all carpool and go and do a devotion or just hang out and catch up. That first week of classes, your RA is going to, your hallway is going to be decorated at all times. They come up with all these different themes and they put your names on your door and all kinds of different stuff. So they try to get the hall together and for various activities all throughout the year. So if that sounds fun to you and you want to do that while you're on campus, then definitely, and I for sure suggest that every student, whether you're a freshman or not, gets to know their RA. They're a wealth of information as you start school as well.
Yeah, RAs are super helpful. They're also there to kind of be that support for students who may have homesickness at the beginning of the school year. We know that coming in as a freshman can be a little intimidating and it's your first year away from home. So they are that person for your student or for you as a student if you're the student on here today. But my RA, my freshman year would bake cookies and bring us cookies down the hall and just check in on us. They are also that buffer for students. We do a really great job of trying to partner students who are very similar to each other, but sometimes there are just kind of mix-ups or confusion with who's going to clean the bathroom one week and whatnot. And so the RA will be that buffer for students, so you don't have to go directly to your roommate and there's no issue there between the two of you. The RA can kind of be that person that takes care of that situation for you. So they're a wealth of information. They're there for your student at all times. And they're just really, really great to help build community.
Yeah. Okay, a few more questions in here. Haley, do you have to pick your major at the start of freshman year, or can you explore options? So you do not have to pick your major at the start. We have a number of students. One of our more larger kind of major groups coming in freshman year is that undecided major. So that is totally okay. Coming from someone who changed their major 3 times in college, number one, I don't suggest doing that. I don't. But if you have to, that is okay. Or if you're unsure, you have a few things in the back of your mind, it's always good to talk to your enrollment counselor about it, because there are specific majors that if you don't start in that major, it could possibly put you a bit behind, and we want to be open about that with you. But if you are not unsure, those undecided students have great connections and support from our Career Center and our Student Services Center, that you also can get support there for whether it's shadowing opportunities to see, okay, am I actually going to like this or not? I also would suggest, if you are a junior, even senior, whatever, and you haven't talked with a professor in a department that interests you, please do that. So when we host on-campus visits, we put you in with a professor in an interest area. Don't be intimidated by this. You don't have to be sold on that major to do that. It's just so that you can get a feel for what our professors are like and who they are, and then hear a little bit about that major. And then also the rest of this week is filled with a lot of different professors and majors. So tune into some of those maybe to learn a bit more about that and make that decision. But you don't have to select that your freshman year, and your academic advisor will help guide you through that process, and let you know when you need to pick that major. So Jaden, tuition and cost. So tuition for the 2020-2021 year is $27,000 per year. And then room and board is anywhere from $10,400 to $12,000 per year. So we have 4 different housing options. All of those are covered in that. The room and board does include your meal plan. So we have a couple of different meal plan options, and they're all the same price, and they're included in that, as well as things like library print money. So there's money automatically loaded on your student ID each semester, so you can print in the library. There is money loaded on as part of your meal plan to use at the Chick-fil-A on campus, and then Java City, which is our campus coffee shop. And so there's also like any of those Wi-Fi or technological fees or anything like that that you might see from other institutions. That is all included in our room and board cost. So there's no surprises. Outside of the tuition, room and board that we say is our sticker price, the only 3 things that are an additional cost would be, again, the parking pass that I was telling you guys about earlier, that's one. Books is another. So you are able to buy those, new, used, however you would like, and they're very different for every major, so we don't include those. And then also any class fees. Typically, any science lab is $50 per lab, so those will kind of trickle in by semester depending on your class schedule. Okay, let's see. Are you allowed to apply for jobs on campus freshman year? Yes, you can. Absolutely. There are a number of things that are also like on University Boulevard, like just right off campus. So students, you are allowed to work off campus as well, but you absolutely can apply for jobs during freshman year. Y'all have been asking some awesome questions. Sabrina, anything to add, or you guys have any additional questions for us?
I was going to say, if any transfers have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those. Otherwise, these are great questions, so I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, we will type our email addresses in the chat box. So if you guys have any specific questions that you maybe didn't want to announce here, please feel free to email us. We can get you in touch with your specific enrollment counselor. I know some of you guys will be some of ours, but we might forward you on to the correct person. Patty did have a question. What type of computer?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we, if you're talking about like what computers or like tech equipment a freshman needs coming in, we actually don't have a computer requirement for that. I I personally enjoy Apple products much better than anything else, but we don't have a requirement for that. Oh yeah, Trina. So the upper range of the room and board is $12,000 per year. That is the brand new residence hall. And then the lower range is $10,400. That is the existing residence hall that has 3 people in one room. So there's 3-person and 2-person rooms. Oh, that's a good question, Haley. Can you apply for the Athletic Training Center student assistant as a freshman? To be honest with you, I am not positive that I know that. I can ask, absolutely. A lot of times, if there's like a departmental scholarship or a department specific opportunity like that, they do like you to be, in that program. Make sure that you actually have that major and have started courses within that program. Kimberly, Brittany, if you guys know that answer, but Haley, I will write down your name in that question and I can definitely get you that answer. Because I'm not totally positive.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but usually if you're looking on the student employment website, it will give you those specifics. So it'll tell you if you have to be a federal work study student, if you have to be a certain level, if you have to be within a certain major. So if it doesn't list any of those requirements, then I would say that it's open to freshmen, but we can definitely double check for you, Haley.
Something that is available to any student, regardless of their year, is being able to work in the Brewer Center. So that might be a little bit similar. Students can help work in the gym. We do have some students who will teach classes like Zumba and kickboxing. So there are other opportunities even outside of specifically the Athletic Training Center.
Right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us and asking some amazing questions. Again, our emails are all right there. And we are happy to answer your emails or even set up another call with your enrollment counselor later this week. But definitely tune in to some of the additional sessions we have going on this week. There's a lot of info out there. And just really glad that you guys joined us today and are staying safe and healthy.